What's up, you filthy casuals? Welcome to the Casual Shenanigans Gaming Podcast. Podcast all about all things PC gaming related. I am one of your hosts, Jern Gaming, and I am joined by Dave.
Hey folks, I am Dave, the not so evil Viking 13.
And Joel.
What's up, fans?
What's up, what?
What was that word?
Okay, so
I was gonna say,
what's up, guys? And then I was like, nah, let's go with what's up, friends. And I just kind of went, what's up, friends?
I thought you said, like, what's up, phlegm?
I had a brain part. Sorry. Starting off good.
So, Dave.
Yes.
What are you eating tonight? I feel like we should be talking about that.
Well, tonight, but I haven't had a chance to have dinner yet. So I got home late from work. I have consumed a delicious cheese stick, which actually was kind of delicious, and a, let's see, which flavor is this? An original flavor, Slim Jim, 35-cent manager's special clearance. Orange
35
sticker.
cents for what? That's like a 12-inch Slim Jim.
Yeah, it was $1.
Assuming that was ever edible, how far past the edible date is it now?
I probably should have read that first. Wow, the tag says giant spicy stick. Is what the barcode says. $1 spicy stick.
Why do you eat those, Dave? Why do you eat giant spicy sticks?
Because I was hungry. Oh, okay. It's good. It's good till April 2014. Wow, that's terrifying. I bought this like 6 months ago on clearance.
Wait,
you'd be totally
I think it's more terrifying. There's actually an expiration date on those. What in there is going to go bad?
And to answer your question that you didn't ask, yes, it was terrible. It was like all dried out.
Now you're assuming that regular Slim Jims are good, right? Because I think regular Slim Jims are terrible.
I wouldn't call them amazing, but I can occasionally enjoy a Slim Jim.
Yeah, I would hope you never call them amazing. I'm a little white trash, okay? But you call Slim Jims amazing, that's a new level.
Look, when I gotta get my gaming on, I gotta get my Doritos, my Slim Jims, and my Halo Mountain Dew to really get in the zone.
Can you or can you not confirm that you are being paid to mention those in this broadcast?
If I was getting paid, I'd be holding up like a brand new bag right now. Ooh.
Say hi to your wife, Joel, since apparently you can't pay attention to us.
I see where we
You
rank.
watching my video?
I can see your mic. I can see your... Yeah, I'm watching you. We're hanging out together.
I can see his microphone.
I can see his head.
Are you reading my lips?
No.
Are you reading the sweet nothings I'm saying to my wife right now?
I'm sure they're not sweet nothings, and no, I am not. Okay.
Welcome to the podcast, guys.
I have news. So I have bad news, a little bit of good news, more bad news. Last night, my thermostat, or the furnace, kind of stopped being hot.
Good thing you have your two GTX, whatever the crap you have.
No, the 27950s. These aren't like Dave's GTX 480s. These aren't very good enough.
So
I have one GTX 770. It's not very hot. But so I went outside. I quit playing DayZ early. Yeah. I went outside. I checked the tanks.
Late.
The tanks were fine. Came back in. I turned it off. Turned it back on again because that's the first thing you're supposed to do when something's going wrong. I did all that. No heat. It would just blow cold air and then go out. Yeah. So I turned on the electric heaters and we went to bed. The camper was 45 degrees inside this morning when we woke up. But
I remember those days.
We pulled a space heater into the bedroom and shut the bedroom. Kind of. It's not really a door. It's like a sliding panel. But it kept it a little warmer in there. So in there was not terrible.
Okay. Good toasty 60 degrees.
Yes, pretty much. So, I figure, okay, not the end of the world. I'll call a mobile RV repair guy. I'll get this sorted while I'm at work. Well, the only guy who called me back told me that he couldn't come work on it because it was too cold. Which is kind of like going to the hospital because, like, you have, what would be the most offensive thing? Because you have, like, spinal bifida and they tell you the elevator's out and you're going to have to walk up 5 flights of stairs to get to your unit. You're like,
man.
Okay, guys, great, because that's not why I'm calling you. So I kind of resigned myself to that not going well. But when I got home, I was able to hook up a portable propane heater, which you'll be glad to know, Dave, is totally safe to use indoors.
Okay.
And Then a guy from another RV place called me back and actually was very nice and walked me through how to troubleshoot it. And I was able to figure out it was the igniter, which is pretty much the spark plug of the furnace.
Yeah.
It was so corroded that as soon as we touched it, it fell to pieces.
Oh my gosh.
So now tomorrow I just got to call around and find another igniter. But for tonight, we're going to maintain at least 70 degrees we can hit with this portable heater. And with one of our big tanks, I brought a big tank indoors. One of the big tanks, we can probably go for weeks.
You should add the 2 butane tanks like right behind you, like giant ones, like danger, flammable.
Now,
no oxygen left for Jeremiah.
Story's not quite done.
Oh no.
So, in our rush to leave this morning, we were maybe a little stressed because things weren't going fantastically. And one person in our family unit may have not left the faucet dripping when they left for work today. And so now our pipes are frozen.
Oh my gosh.
Wait, okay, so you have no air heat, but your pipes are frozen. Yeah, drink it away, Jeremiah. Drink away the sorrows.
So, yeah, that's what's going on.
You want to come up and visit?
I do, Joel, I do.
I've actually got a similar story I could knock out real quick if we're on the vein of suffering and cold. When I first got married, our house wasn't finished yet. And our house, after the remodeling, has an open floor plan where the living room, dining room, and kitchen area are all underneath this cathedral ceiling. Well, the problem was that it was getting cold quickly, end of the year. And it was like early November, and the only rooms finished were the back of the house. You know, bedroom, bathroom, closets, all that stuff back there. But, you know, where you cook your meals and generally spend a lot of your time, not only was unfinished, but had bare studs with no insulation. Mm-hmm. So winter came around, and we had a goal. Yeah, as it tends to happen, we had a goal of getting the living room area ready for Christmas.
Die. Oh. Oh, that's not the goal? Okay, sorry. I'll stop interrupting.
I'm so lost right now.
Okay, good. Finish by Christmas.
Yeah, that was basically the goal right there. We threw up some insulation, threw up sheetrock, which was horrifying. Sheetrocking cathedral ceiling with no equipment, just scaffolding. Yeah, 12-foot sheets too.
The way you're saying that makes me sound like you probably were not a professional sheetrocker before this moment.
Ha! Ha!
We like computers.
He has one now.
So yeah, long story short, we managed to get insulation, at least in the walls, sheetrock done, painted and all, and had the room with the nice floor redone and all, because we have a nice wood floor in there that had to get redone. Mm-hmm. Like 3 days before Christmas, the only thing we didn't have was insulation in the attic. So it was just one layer of sheetrock and then open outside air. So 3 days before Christmas, we went out, bought a Christmas tree, put it up in the living room with no insulation, and then put like a space heater in the corner to decorate the tree at night. And we were out there just long enough to like decorate, like just huddled around this tiny little space heater because the room was maybe 5 degrees warmer than the outside temperature. So it was like 38.
Oh my god!
Yeah, that insulation stuff really makes a big difference.
Yeah, and you know, having an actual heat source that's not like a little bathroom space heater, that also helps. So yeah, I've got photos of our first Christmas tree. Like all of us like bundled up in the corner of the empty room, like no furniture,
crying,
shivering, you know. So yeah, I know the suffering,
the struggle.
Hashtag.
So that's what's been going on with us, but let's get the podcast started with the news as we do most of the time. Now, DayZ had a new patch come out. And patch is pretty cool. Here's some of the things that have been added into the patch, or changes, additions, everything else. The respirator mask now only takes up 1 slot. Your stomach capacity has been balanced. The FNX 45, 357 Pythons, M4A1s, everything spawns less often than it used to. All the weapons do, at least. Dead character cleanup is more current.
That's a temporary change, by the way. Dead characters are currently removed every 10 minutes, but that's just for server performance in this kind of in-between period.
See, ambient noises are slightly quieter.
Joel?
Saline transfusions don't refill your full blood. Player aim run speed updated. Some glitches and things changed. A lot of animation fixes. You can now spray paint various guns and other pieces of equipment. Let me see. It's mostly just tweaks and changes. The server seems to run a little better. Shotguns are now in the game, so all that ammo you've collecting has not gone to waste. There's also a hacksaw, which, as far as I know, all you can do with that is like open cans, right?
And cut the shotgun into a sawed-off shotgun. That fits
you
into
can
your
turn
backpack.
the shotgun into a. Can you turn the Mosin into the worst rifle in the world?
The flamethrower of doom.
No, it's interesting with that shotgun. People were posting videos online of them comparing the spreads of the shotgun, and this is something I'd suspected for a while because I have in the real world an 18.5-inch barreled shotgun. But actually, cutting the barrel down doesn't really increase your spread. It does by a very small amount, but going from a 30-inch barrel to an 18.5-inch barrel, you get maybe a 10% increase in the spread. What you lose is velocity.
Yeah.
So your drop-off is going to be much lower. But, at about 20 or 30 feet, a sawed-off is still a really devastatingly powerful gun, which is good, as it should be. It seems like they've got the spread a lot more correct in this game than they did in most other video games, at least for shotguns. I don't know, the ARs seem pretty good, and the Mosin seems pretty good, because you think about it, a Mosin should be a very accurate gun, but how many times have you shot a rifle 600 meters away? Like, would you really be able to hit anything?
I'm talking about the random dispersion. I think is the incorrect way to balance the weapons. I get that our guys are supposed to be survivors and not trained military personnel, but I've always hated random dispersion in games because it takes away the connection between your aim and the result. I think the correct way to do it would be to add a visible sway or something like that.
Like most games do.
Yeah. And this is probably just a temporary, let's not have the weapons be lasers kind of fix. But.
Yeah, you don't want to hit scan, especially on something with that high of a muzzle velocity. There's it's mostly animations. There's new drinks added into the game. Berry picking, which I have not got a chance to do yet. Hiking pants, canvas pants. And apparently some of this stuff has happened, but it wasn't in the patch notes. It seemed like they added more stuff in and just didn't tell people.
Berets were added. There's 5 different colors of berets, yeah.
And I've seen people with compensators for some of the guns, which don't do anything.
For the 45.
Also doesn't do anything yet, but it's there. A few things like that. So that's pretty cool. And I haven't got a chance to try it yet because it wiped back to my character that hadn't died. So I'm still fully geared. But I'm very much looking forward to the fewer weapon spawns. And I like that Rocket said recently that in the end game, he wants it to be so military loot is incredibly rare. And I like that. I would actually say the Mosin should be in that category of incredibly rare. Well, I don't know. I don't know if I've ever been killed by someone with a Mosin yet.
Yeah, the Mosin is one of those weapons where you got to catch somebody by surprise. You can't get into a firefight with a Mosin and
you
really
still
compete.
carry one.
Yes, I do. And in the next episode of our DayZ series, I pull off a pretty sweet move with it. Just saying.
Spoilers. Yeah, we haven't played a ton of the patch, so we can't talk too much about it. I think we're going to play more of it tonight, aren't we?
Probably so. Yeah, we haven't played much of it. What you mean is we tried to play some of it, and then Yoshi got stuck in a wall because I pushed him through it by accident.
That was the old patch still. That wasn't the new patch.
Was it?
Yeah, that was the old patch.
Okay, no, you're right. Yeah, it was the old patch. Yeah, we've had an interesting week in DayZ.
I like that you can see the times in the server browser because we were playing at dusk last night. It looked really awesome.
Oh, the lighting's amazing.
Although I don't know if the clock on that server was running faster or something, because when I spawned in, it was most definitely 1:30 in the afternoon, according to the server clock. So, I don't know.
Yeah, I think traditionally all Arma servers have always been a bit off with the clock. Even clients are a bit desynced by up to 15 minutes for the time of day. So
okay. All right, so we'll talk more about DayZ as it comes up. We got a lot of other things to talk about. Battlefield.
I've got some news.
Oh,
what?
Okay.
What? Dave's got some gun news, actually.
Dave has gun news. All right, well,
if
Dave wants us to talk about gun news, he should tell me ahead of time, so I'm not just blazing past him. But no, go ahead.
The thing is, if I would have warned you guys about it, Joel would have just tuned me out right now. I know he's going to anyway. I can see it.
I heard the guns, and I was like, well, I'm going to go play a game of my iPhone.
Yeah, you're just phoning it in like normal, Joel.
Yeah, nothing new there.
What am I going to add to guns? There's bullets and clips and magazines and
that's true. They're all
That's like saying, guys, why are we talking about education? There's just math and there's words. And that's really it. That's basically it. And student loans, crushing debt. Welcome to education.
You should probably start learning more about your health and heat.
Hey, we're gonna live.
Talking about
what are you
guns.
talking about? We ain't dead yet.
Yeah.
Suffering's good for the soul. It's bad for my tootsies, though. My tootsies are cold.
Well, that's a little bit too much information.
My tootsies are my toes, Dave.
I know what they are, but when you say it like that, it sounds
They're
weird.
my tootsies. They're cold.
Yeah.
So, gun news.
Yeah, the SHOT Show was actually last week, which is the, I guess, E3 of firearms technology.
Oh, that sounds like a place a bunch of liberal bloggers are losing their minds at. To be fair, most of the gun community, like the advertisements and stuff, are horrible.
Yeah.
What was it? Is it Bushmaster? Their ads for their ARs, it says,
yeah.
consider your man card reissued.
That made
It's
me
like,
angry.
really, guys? And all of them are like these overweight dudes, like in their 40s, wearing all tactical gear to protect
Like a
their
full-
houses.
A full tactical vest that like comes way out down at the bottom.
It's like, come on, guys. If someone breaks in your house, do you really need like the ultra strobe and the laser and like the low glide stock, or do you just need like a $300 shotgun and a couple rounds of buckshot?
Well, if you have concern for your neighbors, you use an
Yes,
AR.
I know AR,
But-
Dave. But let's
but
pretend you didn't have
going
almost
back to the SHOT
$1,000.
Show.
SHOT Show, yes.
Going back to the SHOT Show, actually, a lot of it is industry stuff where civilians can't touch it. You know, law enforcement only, full autos and stuff like that. But what's really cool, this caught my attention coming out of CZ USA. I bought my first CZ last year, my CZ75 pistol, and that's the only experience I have with CZ, but the general knowledge on the internet, who you can always trust, is that all things that CZ touches are awesome. Their rifles, their shotguns, everything. In 2009, by the way, guys, CZ is the Czech Republic. They're like national firearms manufacturer, I guess. Bohemia Interactive is based out of the Czech Republic. In 2005, they came out with the CZ805, which is actually a rifle in Battlefield 4. That's their new assault rifle. And the word out of the back rooms of the SHOT Show is that CZ USA is currently working with the ATF to come up with a semi-auto civilian version of the CZ805 for civilian use in the US. What's cool about that is it's better than an AR in theory, and hopefully it's cheaper than the ACR civilian version and the SCAR civilian version.
How is it better, supposedly? I mean, because AR is a pretty good gun.
It is. I have one. I believe that it's piston, so it's a little bit cleaner versus direct impingement. I'm trying to find it in the Wikipedia article. I had it earlier and totally lost it. But basically, it's just a different platform, an alternative platform like the ACR and the SCAR. And it's always nice to have options. There's no word on pricing yet. I'm really hoping that we're not going to see another, $2,400 AR alternative like the SCAR.
I've held SCARs at a couple gun shows, and they're cool. They're surprisingly heavy.
Yeah, they are very heavy.
They're cool, but yeah, they just don't seem like it's worth the money, because every time I shoot the AR, all I think about is, man, this is way more gun than I'm capable of taking advantage of,
But yeah,
And
that's Dave's random gun news for
That
the
is
week.
cool. No, I do think that is a cool thing. It also is a heavy gun. The Vector 45 ACP.
Is that really a name?
The Vector,
The
yeah,
Vector.
it's been in a bunch of video games. You probably played with it. It's been in Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3.
It's an Arma 3, right?
Is that weird,
Yes.
like,
It's very
slanted,
weird. It's very
like,
weird
magazine?
slanted gun.
Yep.
It's always a subcompact. That thing is way heavier than our AR. Way heavier. I picked one up at a gun show, and I was amazed at how heavy it was, especially just to shoot 45 ACP. I don't know.
Yeah,
because
because it looks like an SMG. Like
yeah, it's always in games as an SMG, probably because of
Yeah.
the caliber.
yeah.
Battlefield 4. Let's talk about Battlefield 4. They've released another patch. I will say, because I do want to give them full credit, and then I'm going to rag on them some more. The game is running pretty stable for me now. Now, I know lots of people are still having stuttering issues and stuff, so maybe I just got into the lucky pool of people who are doing well. Yeah, Dave's having stuttering, especially with ShadowPlay, which is kind of sucks. But I am running pretty stably now. Now I just get to make fun of the horrible game design and balancing decisions. But everything else is going pretty well. So Dave, how is the patch treating you other than the fact that ShadowPlay no longer works?
Well, the patch that came out last Monday was supposed to be a very minor patch. Fix some minor balancing issues with the game, some crashes, stuff like that. However, the first thing that people really found in the patch was that a lot of them could no longer spawn. And it took DayZ about 4 days to figure out why that would happen. Like, you would spawn in and stare at the sky.
4 days.
What?
Yeah. What was happening was there was a desync between the new version of the patch and the current version of Punkbuster, where Punkbuster would not actually assign you a GUID to play the game, so you would spawn in like halfway and not actually be able to play. The second thing that I noticed is...
Punkbuster.
The second thing that I noticed, I know how much Joel hates Punkbuster. The air radar was broken on most of the jets on most of the maps, which is a problem when you can't see what's behind you. I got wrecked so many times flying a jet because someone would just pull in behind me and like wait until they had the perfect shot. I'm just like flying down an attack run, making a nice straight line. They just blow me away because I have no way to see what's behind me. Just, I don't understand how the game is so inconsistent and so broken. One tweet that I think it was Alan Kurt sent out that really just made me facepalm was everyone's been talking about the survivability of the helicopters and how right now the helicopters, the attack helicopters, are worthless. They are flying...
Completely worthless.
Flying bathtubs made of paper mache.
They go 30 miles an hour.
Yeah. They drive like a bus, and they have the armor of a paper mache bag.
Man, you want some good attack choppers, go back to Bad Company 2. Those things were fast.
Yes.
Let's just go back to Bad Company 2, guys. Let's just do it.
And the main problem is that you have no survivability in the attack chopper. If you get hit by any lock-on missile, it could be the active radar missiles, which lock on by themselves, and the mobile AA
Magic missile.
gets 4 of them in 30 seconds. They can just crank out at you. But if you get hit with a single stinger, a lot of times your chopper just rolls over into the ground and you can't pull up and you die. Well, it turns out that's not planned behavior. That is a bug. The fact that your chopper dies to one missile to rolling into the ground is a bug. Once again, guys, this game launched in late October. Okay? It's now 3 months in, and the attack choppers are dying to missiles in one hit, and it's a bug. How is that not fixed yet?
I'm thinking they're probably waiting, like they're probably putting that into the balancing category, and they're probably trying to fix like the game not loading and stuff first.
That's a glitch, and
it is a glitch.
Said on Twitter.
But
that's a glitch.
I know it's a glitch, but maybe they're considering like when they're planning when they're going to fix stuff. Maybe they're putting that in the balancing thing, and they're trying to fix like game crashes now. I don't know.
All right, for the attack chopper, let's talk about balancing. How about this?
Let's talk about balancing. Yes,
ECM. Is like the medical particle effects. Battlefield 3 had a, I think it was a 10-second recharge time and 10 seconds of ECM that would constantly be going out, at which time missiles would fly around wildly and usually hit the ground.
Pretty good mix. Pretty good balance, I thought.
Yeah, so 10-second recharge time, 10 seconds of ECM. In Battlefield 4, it's 10 seconds of ECM and a 25-second recharge time. Like, it may have been too short in Battlefield 3, but why that massive leap in Battlefield 4? Why does DayZ hate pilots so much? Like, it's one of those things, like in games you have to find that sweet spot between, you know, in your balancing where you can't make a change too far in either direction,
right?
And that's
instead of going from 10 to 25 you go from like 10 to 12 and you see how that goes, and the next patch maybe you go to 13 and you just inch it until you hit the perfect balance. Doubling it or more than doubling it is not really a balancing change. That's like a totally different
do we know how much money Battlefield 4 has made?
Do we have sales numbers? I mean, it's made a lot.
Sales numbers roughly, I think it's like 4.5 million on PC and about 7 million on all the consoles. So
sales or how much money though? I mean, or I guess I never.
I don't know.
At 50 or 60 bucks a piece. I mean, it's sold pretty well, unfortunately.
Worse than Battlefield 3 by about 30%, but Battlefield 3 sold really well. So
Battlefield sales up to date.
Up to date, yes.
That's probably because everyone bought it in the first 3 weeks, and then after like the first 3 weeks, the sales probably fell off a cliff. You'd have to live under a rock to want to buy Battlefield 4 now. I mean, honestly. It's sad.
Oh, and the last thing with the choppers, too, was that in Battlefield 3, you had below radar, which once you unlocked it, as a good pilot, you could equip that perk, and by flying well and staying low, you could avoid the basically no-skill lock-on weapons that are just a way for lower skilled players to be able to compete against a good pilot. But if you had below radar, you could actually make your flying ability be a defense. Well, there is no below radar in Battlefield 4, so you have no below radar. You have a bug that causes your chopper to flip over as soon as you get hit by anything, and you have 2.5 times the respawn on the countermeasures. Hi, James.
And it used to be the best way to stay, to stay out of the way and to not get hit by jets was just to stay low to the ground. But now, to stay away from being spiked into the ground, you've got to go up high. As soon as you go up high, a jet will just pick you out of the sky, or the AA hits you.
Because you're moving at 30 miles an hour.
Right. There's no way to win. Honestly, I think if they increase the movement speed by 50%, I think that would almost fix all of the problems. Because even if you get spiked into the ground and everything else, if you were fast, you could work around that.
Yeah.
Then you'd be like as fast as jets, and they probably don't want that.
It's just so many levels of broken.
It is. But we're going to move on from that sad thing now. Touch on ShadowPlay briefly. The new ShadowPlay update has given you options to record like 720p or 1080p, and you can record different bit rates now, different frame rates and bit rates. They give you options all the way up to 50 megabit per second, which is fantastic.
I haven't tried that for the 30, but I was disappointed to realize that the actual old settings for the old version of ShadowPlay was already 50 megabit at 60 FPS. It was,
really?
yeah.
So they lowered it?
No, basically, if you changed your frame rate to 30, now the quality of your footage has doubled. But what I was hoping for was to crank the quality of my 60 FPS footage up. I tried it out last night, and it's the exact same footage if you still do 60 FPS.
50 megabit is still awesome. 50 megabit is Blu-ray quality.
It doesn't seem like it to me. I have noticeable artifacting in my footage.
It would depend on the quality of the codec, but I'm telling you, 50 megabit is what they encode Blu-rays at. Actually, some Blu-rays are even down in the 30s.
Yeah.
It's the quality of everything else going into it that matters. But no, that's 50 megabit is amazing. You really don't need anything above 50 megabit if it's properly handled. But you've got other weak spots in your chain there that could be messing stuff up. Yeah. But you and I have a line on some other codecs we're going to be experimenting with. See if we can.
That's right. Work. YouTuber secrets. YouTuber secrets.
Joel, give me a magic, Father Joel.
Give me a magic. It's a magic.
No. That's not good enough. That's not good enough.
I'm concerned now.
You want me to talk as that character?
Yeah. That's what I meant. I wanted the magic.
You gotta let it flow, man. You gotta let it flow.
I want to hear about your flow. All right, next announcement. Okay, SimCity's getting an offline mode. Is anyone surprised?
I'm trying to care. I really am. That was my trying to care face.
Okay, so here's what I think. They said they didn't put out this patch for a year. The patch isn't quite out yet, but they said it took a year to rewrite the game enough to be able to release the patch, which I think is a load of BS, because a modder was able to do basically the exact same thing within like a month. So I think they just wanted to wait until no one cared about SimCity. As bad as it is that they're both EA properties, probably once Battlefield 4 was out, the SimCity team was like, oh, thank goodness. The mob just moved next door.
That's right. Boy, do we look good now.
I mean, honestly, when's the last time you thought about SimCity? Like, it was supposed to be amazing.
I literally forgot it existed until you said it.
It sucked. It was fun, but it also sucked pretty bad. And then everyone forgot about it and stopped playing it. And now
I'm playing Animal Crossing now, and I played way more hours than that within just like a week.
I think I played more Tropico 4 than any of you guys played SimCity, except for Edgar, who played like, 100 and something hours?
My current hours in SimCity is about 230 or so.
Edgar playing that game.
But it includes a lot of... I'd say
Wait, you played 230 hours of that game? Oh,
let me clarify. At least half of that's idle time. Like, I would go make lunch and just have my city on fast forward. So there's that. Honestly, though, what I was really hoping for SimCity wasn't the offline mode. I didn't care about the online mode. I don't play it on my laptop. I know it's important for some people, but there's much bigger issues with the game. The core simulation is still 100% broken. There are things that you can do to your city that will cause it to stop functioning completely.
Wait, hold the presses. An EA game released and was broken?
Beyond broken. I mean,
keep going.
At its core level, the way that the simulation does the behind the scenes work for your city, for the population, for jobs, for waste management, there are so many ways you can get that simulation to break. And there's still that fun glitch that Edgar got a bunch of times when he finally quit, where every utility truck, every ambulance, fire truck, waste management truck, they all get stuck at the exact tile on the road trying to leave the city. They stack up, and then your entire city grinds to a halt, and the entire region is then done. The region's broken. Every city in that region is now stuck.
You can't fix that problem?
Nope. Nope. Simulation freezes, and it's stuck. It's gone forever.
Now, have you played it since they released a bunch of patches? Because this offline patch is going to be patch 10. So they've released a bunch.
But I think all those patches were in the first 3 months. I don't remember a patch happening since like June. and it tied to the poor simulation is the fact that as broken as the simulation is, like it has rounding errors that cause a whole bunch of like ripple effects. And because of how broken it is at the moment, that's why the city plots are so small, is because even a 5% or 10% increase to the city plot size would cause an exponential increase in the rounding errors and the simulation errors. So if they doubled the size of the city plot, it would exponentially increase all the problems, and it would break even faster.
So maybe they ought to come out with a version where the cities are a quarter of the size and everything runs great. So you can have you in your backyard, and it works awesome.
Don't get me wrong, guys. The Glassbox engine is really cool. It looks great. But for a city simulator, maybe the simulation should have come first.
Tropico 4 is a fun game. Throwing it out there. Just throwing it out. And I hear SimCity 4 is an awesome game, too.
I heard it's pretty cheap, too.
$5 every Steam sale. Last bit of news. Chrome now has an update that I've been wanting for literally years. In Chrome, when a tab is making noise, a speaker icon will now show up on the tab, letting you know which one is making the noise. So for people like Dave and I...
I noticed that, and I was like, hey, is this new? I don't remember this. I'm like...
we use like 20 tabs at a time. I can't speak for Dave, but I'm guessing that's probably accurate.
No
You mean 70 tabs at a time?
It's very useful, especially when...
Which browser? Because I have a couple open right now.
Firefox is my main like social media one.
Yeah. See,
Chrome is my YouTube. Is my YouTube browser.
Why do you need to have that many? Oh, God.
Jeremiah, right now, internet high five. That's right.
Boom. And then
Browser
Internet
Bros.
Explorer.
Browser Bros.
Internet Explorer is so I can sign into my personal Gmail account for Google Music. Internet Explorer has replaced iTunes because it runs better than iTunes. Let that sink in, Apple.
You say Internet Explorer?
Yeah, and actually, Internet Explorer's decent these days.
But the question is, in 5 years, will it still be when people are still using that version?
Who knows? But yeah, so that's the news. Now we have some...
Man, that was some really short news.
Thank you. We have some...
just to introduce the podcast, just a good, quick, swift 32 minutes.
All right, we have a couple questions. First, Jonathan. I don't think you say his name is Jonathan. He's from Sweden. He says, to start this email, I must say your podcast is effing awesome. I listen to it on work like every day, and I've heard every episode at least 3 times. I'm your friendly stalker, winky face. Not creepy.
Whoa.
Not creepy. He's looking forward to Joel's movie, which looks sweet. Good job, Joel. Okay. So he says he'd love to play with us sometime. He's like 6 hours ahead of us, which could be a problem. We're working on coming up with a DayZ event. I just need to pick a date because I don't think if Dave and I sit down together, we're ever going to just settle on something. So I just need to say, this is when the thing's happening.
Oh no, I love planning things in advance and scheduling and all kinds of planning.
I just got to plan around Dave's naps. So his question...
That'd be great, actually, if you could just do that for me.
Here is his build. Cooler Master 690 case. That will not be relevant, but that is part of the build. i7 4770K with a Cooler Master side-on 120-volt water cooling. Dave, could you do me a favor and Google that water cooling real quick?
Cooler Master, one more time for me.
Cooler Master side-on, SEIDON, and it's the 120-volt. He has an MSI Z87 motherboard, a Chief Tech 650-watt power supply, Asus GTX 760 2GB, 1 terabyte Seagate Barracuda, 16 gigs of Kingston RAM. Okay, first question. What do you guys think about my build, and can I put an SSD in without swapping my PSU to a bigger one? Your build is pretty awesome. It's better than any of ours, at least as far as the processor is concerned. 4770K is a beast. Your graphics card's pretty middle of the road. I'm sure you know that. Wait till they drop in price and grab a second one, or maybe get another 800 series if you're running out of stuff to play. But the 760 is a decent card. You'll be able to play on that for years to come if you want to. Yes, you can put in an SSD without swapping your power supply to a bigger one. SSDs use barely any power. I mean, you're looking at like 5 to 10 watts maybe for the entire drive. Even hard drives barely use any power. And your 4770K with the GTX 760, I will be shocked if that thing's pulling over 400 watts at full burn. Now, I don't know if Chief Tech is a good brand or not. So I can't, if Chief Tech is a crummy brand, it may not be making a full 650 watts, and maybe you shouldn't trust it. But if it's a good power supply, you say it's from your old PC, it's like 3 years old. I don't know. That's up to you. I can't speak to Chief Tech or not. But this is his main question. Were you able to find that cooler?
I did, yes, actually.
Does it look like it's good?
Yeah, it looks like it's another one of the quite nice-looking all-in-ones. It's got good reviews on Newegg, so...
Okay, so here's the second question. Do any of you have any clue why the 4770K is producing that tremendous heat with no overclock? So it's not overclocked. Before he added the water cooler, he was hitting 80 to 90 degrees Celsius when he was playing BF4.
Sounds like a 480 right there.
On high ultra. Now he's getting 65, 70 degrees Celsius at full load with the water cooler. Is that cold enough not to harm my CPU? Is that because the stock cooler is crap and the small plastic pins are crap? He hates them. Okay, so first I would say, yeah, the stock cooler is terrible. Will the stock cooler let you run 80 to 90 degrees? I know that the one thing with the 4000 series parts, and Dave, I don't know if you've heard this too, but they run really hot. And you can't overclock them as far. Clock for clock, they perform better than the 3000 series and the 2000 series. But like my 3570K, it's pretty much accepted they can all hit right at 4.5 gigahertz or better. And it's amazing if you can find a 4670K that'll go to 4.5. Most of them won't go above like 4.2, 4.3 because they get so hot. Yeah. So on the stock cooler, I would say that is within the realm of possibility.
I actually have a real world example for that.
Go for it.
I don't have.
She gets hot.
Joel, your mom is always hot. She doesn't get hot. She's always there. I've got a i7-9760 in my work computer with the crappiest Intel stock cooler. Like any kind of cooler held on by plastic push pins is a piece of junk. It's awful. We actually would violate the warranty on my system if we changed it though. So we said, screw it. If we burn out the CPU with all my rendering, then they have to replace it. And to Intel's credit,
those things take a beating.
Since 2009, that CPU frequently has had multiple days where it's at 100 degrees Celsius, full burn, rendering, and it hasn't caught on fire yet. It's been almost 5 years now, and it's still going. I think you're within the safety range, and also, actually, one problem is once you hit 100 degrees Celsius, you start having your CPU be downclocked, so you are losing some performance is actually the main thing. Like, don't worry too much about your CPU killing itself. Worry more about losing performance if it gets too hot. But 70 to 80, I think you're all right. What's the thermal limit for that CPU? Do we know that?
I think it's 100 Celsius. I'm trying to look that up right now. Actually, I mean, it can take the heat. That's that's the biggest thing to keep in mind. Is actually that is not like a Core 2 Duo. If it went above 70 degrees Celsius, you're dead. But that is not really the case with the 4000 series. I mean, they can take the heat.
Okay. According to Intel's datasheet, the 4770K, its thermal limit is actually 105 degrees Celsius. So
right,
it won't actually downclock to 105. Yeah,
more than boiling. So in that case, that was fine. Like that was about what the stock cooler can do. 65 to 70 degrees Celsius is fine. Like you're good. Yep. If you had a other processor, you might be used to running like your AMD processors at 40 degrees Celsius or something, or the older Intel ones that low. That's not really the case anymore. Everything's hotter.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, yeah, that's cold enough. It's not going to harm your CPU. I mean, your CPU could always break, but CPUs are pretty tough. It's hard to break them. That heat's not going to break it. If you want to lower it a little bit, something you could possibly look at is what fans you have in your case and how they're pulling the air. Just kind of look at like where your radiator's mounted for your water cooling and stuff, and make sure you don't have a bad like air pushing against other air, like two fans pointed at each other or something dumb like that. I've done that before. I was doing a build for somebody. He had a Lee & Lee case with only one fan in the front, one in the back, and I accidentally had them both pointing into the case. And the temperature was like 20 degrees Celsius higher than it should have been. So as soon as I got it fixed, it was totally fine. But like, check for anything dumb like that. But no, I would not worry about that temperature. If you're doing like a full burn. Now, if you overclock it, you might have to volt it up a little bit. I wouldn't overclock that processor much past like 4.1, 4.2, or you're probably going to be at like 85 degrees Celsius again. But look at a 4770K overclocking guide, see what other people are doing with it.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so next question is from Infinity Troll. Okay. Love your content as always. Thank you very much. I know I sent you a build a couple months ago. You reviewed it on Casual Shenanigans. He's changed his build a lot. And he wants us to relook at it because he's going to order mid-February. His build is a 4670K, a GTX 660, a Z87 motherboard, 8 gigs of G-Skill, a Thermaltake 650 watt, a 1 terabyte Western Digital, a Corsair 200R case, and a Samsung 23.6 inch LED. So question number
Joel
one
is asleep.
Question number one, Joe. We're getting to stuff you like. Stay
I
with
was
us.
just about to say, can we name this podcast to "Helping the Podcast"? Just helping everyone. Here's your motherboard. We'll just help you out here. We'll help you out here.
Here's my movie, guys. Can people give money to it?
Shots fired.
Welfare works for everybody, Joel.
I'm just kidding.
We
Thanks,
got you.
Obama.
I just have nothing to say.
We got you funded just by ourselves.
Joel, if you could just nod occasionally and be like,
I'm nodding off.
All right. So, first question. What does the memory in a graphics card like mine do? And is this 2 gigabyte version for my build, together with the rest of the components of the PC, enough to run games like BF4 and DayZ on high-ish or ultra graphics? Dave, I'll let you take that one.
What?
GTX 660, 2 gigabyte. Is that enough memory? What is the memory for? And can he run BF4 and DayZ on high or ultra?
Resolution-wise,
A 1080p. It's a 1080p monitor.
Okay, yeah. 2 gigs is plenty of memory, but actually that card can't fill all that memory fast enough. You don't have enough core processors to actually make use of 2 gigs, so memory is not really the issue. A 660...
Not ultra. Let's just get that out of the way.
Right.
DayZ. You can probably play DayZ on ultra because DayZ is going to max your CPU out way before your GPU is maxed out.
I thought Dave was answering this question.
Sorry. I'm sorry.
What? No, you have a good point there. DayZ, especially right now in alpha, has a massive CPU bottleneck. So yeah, DayZ would look great on that. I'm trying to figure out Battlefield 4, probably highest settings at 60 FPS, but you might get some dips.
I don't know. I can barely squeak 60 FPS on highest settings with my 770.
Yeah, every person's different though, so you never know. Yeah, honestly, I'd go for a better card if possible, but don't be afraid of the 660. It won't hurt you.
Yeah, I mean,
it'll treat you right.
It's not a bad card, and you can probably take comfort in the fact that they'll probably be $120 in a year or so. You could always SLI if you wanted to.
Yeah.
But a 660 is not a bad card. You can keep that for a while if you're okay lowering your settings. On DayZ, you'll be fine. On DayZ, if you can't play in Ultra, it's because of the servers and the optimization. Battlefield 4, who knows? Battlefield 3, you can most certainly play on Ultra.
Yeah, if you want to actually just figure out your problems in Battlefield 4, just get a magic 8-ball and see what's up.
Second question. What will my build probably drain in energy if I overclock the CPU and GPU? I'm not really that great at overclocking, but I want to learn it. Is my power supply going to be able to withstand it? He has a Thermaltake 650 watt. So here is what I would say. I have a Corsair 650 watt. Both Thermaltake and Corsair are both great companies. They make really solid power supplies, so we can assume that my power supply makes about the same amount of power as your power supply. I have successfully run 5 hard drives, 1 SSD, 2 7950s that were overclocked, and a 3570K overclocked on the 650 watt power supply with 0 problems.
Humble brag. Look at all my hardware, guys. But don't worry, we're okay.
But I've had no problems, so
yeah.
you will
I
have
think
no
you're
problems.
good.
You'll
Yeah.
have no problems. When you hear power supply recommendations, people go way overboard with them. I mean, you can have a build with like my two 7950s, according to some sites I've found, On full burn, my system probably wasn't even pulling 500 watts. There's a big difference between doing a synthetic test that maxes everything at 100% and an actual real-world test. You find me a game that can take 2 graphics cards and push them to actually 100%, I would love to see that game. They don't. Same thing with your CPU. You are never going to be gaming with your CPU at a flat 100%. Not that CPU. Not anytime soon.
Actually, a funny example, the most usage I've got out of my 2680s, I saw 88% usage average on both cards in Empire Total War because I'm running Darth mod and I like quadrupled the size of the infantry units.
What's Darth mod?
It's like a massive like.
It has nothing to do with Star Wars.
Community. Well, his logo is a Star Wars Darth Vader helmet, and it's really
but it's not like a Star Wars RTS.
No. It's like one of those giant community patches, but. Because of just the amount of people, like it actually uses almost all of both of my graphics cards. It was pretty impressive.
Nice.
Tasty graphics. Tasty. Don't you mock me, Joel. Don't you mock me.
Okay.
I heard your chuckle of judgment.
Last question from Zach. He has asked that we not read his name out on the air. I didn't read his last name for any of you who think I just messed that up. Zach could be anybody.
Who lives at 123 Smith Street.
He's been playing on the
phone
Xbox.
number, the social security number.
He's been playing on the Xbox for some time now, and mostly due to Microsoft being jerks, he's thinking of switching to the wonderful world of PC gaming.
Run by Windows.
Run by Microsoft.
Unless SteamOS takes off, you never know.
No, it
Windows
won't.
for the foreseeable future. He said he'll probably play DayZ, Arma 3, Battlefield 4, and Rome Empire Total War on this PC. All our games. What would be the cheapest setup he could get that would run these on medium to high settings? He doesn't really care for graphics.
What? Get out.
He's coming from an Xbox 360, I'm assuming, so medium settings.
Child, welcome
right,
to the
exactly.
light.
So if he gets medium settings, he'll be happy. Could you
Sweet
put the prices
mercy.
roughly in pounds, as I'm English?
How about ounces?
Let me bring up PC Part Picker real quick. Is there a way to change that to pounds? We can do recommendations in the parts. You may have to look this up yourself because I'm honestly not sure if I can look these up in pounds.
Is there a way to convert Freedom units to King's units?
Actually, I can.
I'm not sure, actually.
Pounds to dollars. Oh, and Google has one. Okay, so a pound currently is going for about $1.66. So here's what I would recommend to play those games on medium to high settings. I am going to go with AMD because AMD is for the money, and for lower end gaming, AMD is still the best because Intel refuses to release a cheap quad core under $200.
They're too busy counting their piles of cash over the i7s.
You want an FX 6300, about $130 processor. You want a Cooler Master Hyper 212 CPU cooler, so you can overclock that bad boy. You're going to want pretty much any motherboard with the 990FX chipset, because that lets you overclock. 8 gigs of memory. I'm just doing this off the top of my head. I don't have a price list in front of me. I would get a 1 terabyte hard drive. If you need more space, need less space, want an SSD, whatever, that's up to you. Graphics card, I would get a GTX 760. I would recommend an AMD if we weren't still kind of going through the whole virtual currency craze thing. But I think a 760 is probably going to be your best option that will let you play those on medium or high settings. I would get like a 500 watt Corsair power supply, DVD burner, yada, yada, yada. You will be able to do all of that for the neighborhood. Well, actually, if you need a monitor, let me knock that up. $800. I know you can do it for a little bit less than that, and I can put out together a detailed list for you if you want it. But get your budget, come back to us with your budget, and we can help you put something together. But you could do that for right around the neighborhood of $800, which would work out to about $800, which would be about 500 pounds. Roughly 500 pounds. 500 to 600 pounds, you should be able to do all of this. Do you guys see anything wrong with any of that list?
No.
Okay.
Joel, how about you?
Nah, it looks pretty clean to me, man.
Legit.
Way to go, bro. Keep riding the right trail of righteousness.
History in a nutshell says in the chat, you'd get way more views if you had custom thumbnails. LOL, just saying. Hey, history in a nutshell. Go find a tall building. Walk off it. No. How do I do a custom thumbnail for this episode? Like while it's live? I don't know how to do that.
Who is going to see that?
I don't know.
The people that are subscribing.
YouTubers, Joel.
I've never gone to my channel.
Of YouTubers.
I've never gone to my channel to look at it. History in a nutshell. Leave a comment if you know how I can do that. I know how to do it for my regular videos, and I do it for the post edited videos, but I don't know about this. Hey, Kanan348 in chat. Hi. Scared was taken says, hey, what's Joel's PSN ID? Joel, is that something you hand out, or is that not?
Who's asking?
Scared was taken.
He sounds friendly.
Honestly, even if I gave it to you, I'm rarely on or ever playing a multiplayer game on PSN. So other than you sending me just love letters or something, I won't respond to you. Not that I don't like you, but it's just a waste of your time.
And then me and Jeremiah would get jealous. So there's that.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And if anyone watching this is in the group of people that I've not accepted onto my Steam friends list, if you go by another name that I know you by, like you're a friend of the podcast or something, you need to let me know that when you try to add me on Steam, because if I get a bunch of random ones and I don't add people I don't know who they are, because the few times I've done that, some people can get a little pestery. and I don't mind. I like talking to people who like our stuff. Don't get me wrong, but sometimes like I'm trying to work on something or record a gameplay or something like that, and I keep getting this Steam notification, ding, would you like to play? Ding, hey, I want to play? Ding, let's do something.
It's like pop up in the corner. I actually lost all of my Origin friend space list because back in Battlefield 3 area, I was like just adding everybody who wanted to play with us. And then they capped our friends list at like 100 and then synced it with Origin, and there went my entire Origin's friend list. So I'm a bit more selective these days.
I have like 15 people that I'm friends with in Battlelog.
I'm a pretty big deal on the internet.
No friends. Ultra Grunt, to answer your question, yes. Maxis and EA did say... Is Maxis still involved with SimCity?
Yeah, they are.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, they did say it was impossible to have an offline version. So yes,
which was proven incorrect a week after launch.
They did lie.
It.
And yes, he said Tropico 4 is great. He got it after seeing me play it. Awesome. Ultra Grunt also says, hey Joel, your Kickstarter is not far off its goal. Your stretch goal. Remember, Dave and Jeremiah don't have successful Kickstarters. He's trying to make you feel better.
Thanks, man. I appreciate that. Makes me feel better sitting through this hour of games and CPUs.
All right, now we're getting on to stuff Joel's interested in. Okay, Game of the Year time.
Guns?
Game of the Year time. We have 4 questions we're going to answer. We're going to go around in a circle. Joel, have you thought about this at all?
Yeah, I have.
Okay, you sound like you're sighing like, I have no idea.
No, I'm just trying to stay awake. It's such riveting. Go ahead.
All right. What was your biggest gaming surprise of the year? It could be a game, announcement, whatever. Joel, what was your biggest gaming surprise? Like, biggest surprise in the world of gaming?
Of 2013.
Yes.
The Division.
Explanation.
That game, it just blew me away. I was not ready for it whatsoever. I was like,
did you see the new screenshots they released this week?
Oh my gosh.
The lighting in that game is literally the best I've ever seen in any game. It looks like a photograph. Have you seen the new screenshots, Dave?
I haven't. Wait, link me, people. Come on.
Dave doesn't go anywhere but Battlefield 4 PC
Google,
gaming
son.
Reddit subs. So
use Google. If you were on Reddit/r/gaming in the past week, you would have seen them.
I actually generally avoid r/gaming.
On my Kickstarter, I have $10,999. Come on, I just need $1 to make it even. Who will be the lucky one?
Yeah, the Division looks amazing. I hope they take their time on that one. Dave, what was your biggest gaming surprise of the year?
Assassin's Creed Black Flag. I could not get into... Well, okay, I got 12 hours into the first Assassin's Creed before I realized I was doing the same thing over and over again, and that kind of spoiled my opinion of the second one. I only got like 4 or 5 hours into the second one, but this one, it's got pirates. It's awesome. And the wave physics and all, and the PC version actually has like a ridiculous amount of graphics options. People have complained that it's like not optimized well. In my opinion, it's more just that they like unlocked everything. You can access like all the ridiculous options. The game looks great, and it's actually a lot of fun.
Cool.
So Black Flag, the first Assassin's Creed that hasn't maybe want to pull a Joel during the podcast and just take a nap.
My biggest surprise of the year was Sony winning the public back on its side.
Yeah.
Sony had such a solid first 6 months of the year. Like, they were just swinging for the fences, and they nailed it. And you saw the fruits of their labor this past holiday season when the PlayStation 4, it's still sold out everywhere. They're selling every single unit they can make, and which is not the case with the Xbox One. So, good job, Sony. You guys earned it. All right, this one will be good.
So Shane Wright just increased his pledge to $101.
That's amazing.
Thank you. All right.
That's fantastic.
What was your biggest gaming disappointment of the year, Joel?
Battlefield 4.
Wait, do we all just want to raise our hands if it was Battlefield 4? That's what I picked. Dave's gonna be strong. Okay.
I had other options, but you know what? I'm in Battlefield 4.
Biggest disappointment. I was so excited for Battlefield 4 because, like you said over and over, on paper, this was going to be the best Battlefield game ever. And now
I'm getting angry. Screw you, DICE, for messing up your game.
Now I like this game less than Call of Duty. Let's let that sink in. Like, I used to love Call of Duty, and then they just beat it into the dirt. Like, it faded away. Not as far as sales numbers, it's still doing great. But
hey, James wanted to say what he was most excited about in 2013.
Okay, sure.
Or biggest surprise. He says the DayZ beta, because you guys had me convinced it would be out in 2012.
And it's alpha.
He's just kidding.
Hey, I got the right window. Just throwing it out there while we're keeping the score. So, if you see if he has like big gaming disappointment, Joel, have him send that to you. But yeah, Battlefield 4 was supposed to be the best, should have been the best. And instead of going out like whimpering off into oblivion, they pretty much punted it into the ground like an active radar missile came out of nowhere and just rolled the game straight into the dirt. And then they also kind of belittled the community, which wasn't really that good. They were kind of treating it like some people are experiencing problems. By that they mean literally everyone who has an internet connection and can talk about it. I never saw anyone going, "Hey guys, Battlefield 4 works great for me. I don't know what's wrong with you guys." I mean, mostly some people were like, "I'm not having this problem. Y'all are whiners. I'm having this entirely separate but also really bad problem."
I just love the inconsistency. Like, I ran across some footage I recorded in mid-November, and the game is like so much smoother then. It's like patches have made it worse in a lot of ways. It's like,
but they made it better for me though, so I'm cool with it.
Yeah, like it's so inconsistent.
I'm starting to look at that 20 gigs of hard drive space. Like, I could use that for something else. That's on my SSD.
Yeah,
that's how you're.
No. You just need a bigger hard drive, right? You just need a bigger hard drive.
I've got plenty of hard drive space. That's not the
apparently
problem.
Not enough for the 20. You don't have enough hard drive space, apparently.
It's more like a worthiness thing.
See, that's for me. It's like,
no,
why do
Joel,
I keep it on there?
No, I have like
it's not really
2
that
terabytes
worthy.
of free space.
I have more than enough room. I've never not had enough room to install a game. It's just that, like, why do I have it installed? I'm not going to play it.
So what you're saying, Joel, is we're playing Rome 2 tonight. That's what I'm hearing.
Is it not installed?
I'm not sure. Actually, it might be. I don't remember.
How often do you uninstall games? That's what I want to know.
Well,
really? How often?
I haven't touched anything since I redid to Windows 8 because remember I had a craziness with Windows 7 and then I switched things over. So I have it. It should be there. I think it's actually installed.
The great part here, Jeremiah, is you probably haven't watched our Rome 2 videos. I really don't think you would.
No, I haven't. No offense.
But we posted the 3rd episode in late October after not posting one for almost 2 months, and it had been so long that 2 patches for the game had came out and had corrupted our multiplayer save game, so we had to restart the series, try to get back to where we had left off, which we got like pretty close, and we played an episode, and at the end we're joking like, well, it was 2 months, Joel was busy with his film stuff, but we'll be back soon. And then we're like, we'll see you again in 2014. Like, would that be funny? Well, that was the last episode posted.
All right, Dave, I'm just going to throw this out there. If you come across a spare code of the game, or if Joel... Actually, hey, when the game sharing feature comes out, you share the code with me, Dave, I will pick up the slack. I will pick up the slack. I don't even know how to play that game.
The view counts will go down, but you'll pick up the gaming slack at least.
It's true. I'm crying on the inside, but you're not wrong.
No, you have such good quality with your videos. I'm so sorry about that.
Suspect about what?
They don't have as many views.
Oh.
I feel like you deserve more views.
Well, see, I'm matching Dave about, like, I'm at 10% of the size of his channel, and it's matched it all the way up. Like, as Dave grows, I'm growing at exactly a 10% rate. So eventually, that's going to be pretty awesome. When Dave's rolling over like $500,000, I'll be like, I can finally make enough money to pay for internet. Woo!
Yeah, but
pay to get heat and unfreeze the pipes.
when I'm reviewing like perverted Skyrim mods with like really inappropriate thumbnails, just rolling in the YouTube money and don't even care about quality anymore.
when I'm on the news as a professional Hollywood director, I'll be like, I used to play games with people. I can't quite remember the names. But
no, that
probably not matters.
I am not one to rag on other YouTubers' lives, so I'm not going to say anyone's names. I'm not trying to call out anyone in particular. But with the large gaming YouTube, like the people who get to like the 1 million sub count and go up from there, a lot of them really start phoning it in. Like, you look at some of the videos, you're like, you did this because you knew you could do anything and get 200,000 hits on it, didn't you? Yes, you did. That would take me like 8 months to get, and this is footage of you like opening soda cans and talking about some new video card you're getting. I hate you so much.
You know what's worse than the big gaming? Some of the big gaming channels that phone it in though are the some of the prank channels that get really big. Like some of these guys like really start phoning it in just for the money.
The trolling.
Yeah, where it's just like I saw one posted on r/cringe a few days ago where the guy's prank was having his friend call from the police department to tell his dad that he had been caught selling marijuana at college. He'd be kicked out of university. And it was like 4 minutes of his dad like yelling at him before he's like, it was all a joke, Dad. Ah! And it's like, I just watched a family fight. That was great. Thanks.
It belongs in r/cringe, which is the best subreddit.
What a great prank. You made your dad think that you had failed at your education. He was really disappointed in you. He started to cry a little bit. Your mom was really upset. Awesome.
They're totally going to forgive you, though. Yay, parents.
But it's all for the views, guys.
Anyway, so my point was going to be, as long as I keep growing at 10% of Dave's channel, see, I'll keep my integrity as he gets huge. And I'll just the rising tide, raises all ships.
And I'll feel better selling out for that cold hard cash, knowing that Jeremiah is going to keep the quality going.
Exactly. We already have a plan. We've talked about it. Now, we're not a part of the whole getting paid to post Xbox One footage, but we're selling out to all kinds of different companies. I'm just kidding. I would bet, where do you want me to sign on the line? Please, somebody let me sell out. No. Anyway,
I saw
I'm
that.
not going to sell out for an extra $3 CPM because that's going to make me like a dime.
Okay, yeah. So funny story. I'm a machinima partner. I got that email, and obviously my entire channel is like PC gaming. I briefly actually thought about doing this like ridiculously over the top Xbox One video just to see how many people would call me out. Like it's like Arma 3, DayZ, Battlefield 4 PC Ultra, and it's like, hey guys, I'm here to talk to you about how awesome the Xbox One is.
Where would you get footage for it?
I was gonna actually use some footage from the Battlefield Showdown stream, just like talk over top of it, just to see how many people called me out. Although now, like, it was gonna be a straight joke video, but now after all the news broke, I'm glad I didn't get involved in that whole mess of a
fly
thing.
under that radar.
Woo! Consoles.
So yeah, Battlefield 4, biggest gaming disappointment of the year by far.
Oh, that's what we're talking about.
Yeah, James says he's most disappointed with all things Wii U.
A lot of people say this is the year the Wii U really started doing good, though.
I think the only thing that's really good about the Wii U this year is the
price.
Super Mario 3D Land and Mario Zelda.
Mario Zelda?
Sorry, gosh. Oh,
man. Wow, someone sounds like a parrot. Got that Mario Zelda game. Revenge of the Zelda 64
on the Nintendo box.
Hey there, guys! You guys playing your Mario Zelda game?
We're not supposed to see the prophet's face. No.
We're not worthy to ride the great train.
Wait, we can't call him the prophet. He's the conductor. That's what we have to call him.
Ticket time.
What was your
that was my favorite line. Ticket time.
What was your least favorite game of the year? Joel. Game that you
favorite-
played. Game that you played.
Man, least favorite game. Gosh.
Oh, come on. You bought some PS4 launch titles.
Killzone is really good. Killzone's really good.
I've heard it's a good game. I've heard people say that it looks better than any game on the PC at any qualities level. What would you say to that?
Other than just it's not has the highest frame rate. It has some of the best detail I've seen
Best
in like
art
any game
design.
in the last couple
Awesome
of years.
art design.
The art design is just it reminds me a lot like The Division, like in a lot of areas in the game. That's what I'm excited about new games now. Is just the amount of clutter. That's almost a better word. Like just detail and things.
Right.
And the game reminded me of playing Half-Life 2 actually, because it has a lot of jumping and like navigating areas where Battlefield and Call of Duty games are just all about like shooting, and then that's about it. This one is just like
and dog. You'll become emotionally
Flying
attached to the
and
dog.
shooting.
Fish
and
AI.
flying and shooting.
Sports.
Sports. TV. Sports.
It's in the game.
EA TV.
No, but yeah, Killzone's really good. I actually got Battlefield 4 on PlayStation 4, and I'm actually have more hours in that than I do on the PC version.
So I think you spent more money on Battlefield 4 than any of the rest of us at this point.
No, probably did.
I don't know. I gave him a copy of Premium, and I feel like an idiot.
But he bought the regular
I told
game
Dave
already,
not to
right?
get it beforehand.
He bought the
What?
regular game, and then
He did.
Then he bought it for PS4. He spent the most. Then he has spent more
That's true.
than any of us.
Because I had a pre-order which was full price, but my copy of Premium I only paid $35 for, thanks to Green Man Gaming discounts. Green Man Gaming, it's in the game.
This is not a paid advertisement. We actually just
I
like
bought
it.
I bought it because I enjoyed the game and I wanted to be able to play more of it, and I just know I'm gonna play it more on my PS4 than I'm probably gonna boot it up on the PC.
Why?
It's okay. If I kept my PC on constantly, I think I would play games more on it. Moronic. That sounds like I'm saying moronic.
Is Joel's audio messing
But-
up for you, Dave?
Yeah, I think Joel is currently being eaten by the JPEG.
Can you tell me if you guys can hear me? Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Have you seen that video, Jeremiah?
I haven't. We'll circle back around to you, Joel. If you can hear this, just shut up for a minute and wait till your mic comes back. Dave, least favorite game of the year?
Man, I don't know if this is least favorite or biggest disappointment. It's SimCity. Which is sad. I have 230 hours in it. But once the shiny wax coating wore off, I hated it. I was like, I tried so hard to find a good anything in that game. And it's just, in the end.
I still want to put a couple hours into it at some point, but I'm going to wait till it's incredibly cheap, which may mean I'm waiting 5 years. But
Yeah.
I do want to try it. I don't want to pay for it. I'm not going to pirate it. I'm just saying I don't want to pay retail anything for it. So I'll wait till they do some crazy good deal sometime in the future.
Yeah.
And then I'll probably try it out. Hey,
Honestly,
K-Mac, thank you for joining and watching on the stream.
I didn't have that many disappointments this year. It was just the ones I did have were like huge. I played a lot of good games this last year. A lot of my sale games I've been trying to go through occasionally. Not hardcore like you, but occasionally. Mm-hmm. It's just that the disappointments have been stuff that I was really excited about. Like the first SimCity in like, what was it, like 10 years? Mm-hmm. Like that could have been so good. And the best Battlefield 4, or best Battlefield on paper. Forever bitter now.
I think my least favorite game was probably Splinter Cell Blacklist.
But you beat it, didn't you?
Yes.
So you played all of it.
I did play all of it because I'm a Splinter Cell lifer. I've played every single Splinter Cell game. I've loved most of them. Double Agent wasn't that great. I liked what they did with the combat and conviction, and for this one's Blacklist should have been the best because they were kind of getting some of the more hardcore roots of the series back with the gadgets and like the different stealth options and everything else. Right. So it was supposed to be awesome, but the game actually got really linear. And it kind of turned into more of an action game. Like there were sections that you really couldn't pass unless you just went in guns blazing. And I didn't really like that because you had tons of ammo, pretty powerful guns, and it just turned into a, stab and shoot fest.
So like Hitman Absolution then, which I enjoyed
Haven't
but
played
had the
yet.
same problems.
Haven't played that one yet.
Exact same problems.
But yeah, because that's not like how Hitman used to be. So I don't know. It just didn't feel like a Splinter Cell game. Like it was too easy, and not necessarily like the enemies were pretty tough individually to kill, but it was too easy. Like the level design, it was obvious where you were supposed to go and what you were supposed to do. You were just going from place to place. Like there was literally a little thing telling you, go here, do this, go here, do this. Joel, since you've joined us again, I was saying my least favorite game this year was Splinter Cell Blacklist, because I had such high hopes for it, being that I'm such a Splinter Cell fan, and it just didn't do it. It was too linear. It was too basic. Like it felt like Splinter Cell Light, and the story was like ridiculous.
Did you finish it?
Yes, I did finish it. More games.
Oh, I liked it. I haven't finished it because stupid Uplay didn't keep my saves in during my reinstallation, so I'm probably not going to replay the game to get back to the point.
Joel, your
Uplay
internet
is horrible.
dying.
Uplay did not help that at all. Uplay wanted to
And the
download
patches.
a new patch.
Oh my
Every single
gosh.
time I started, it was like, hey, there's another
It doesn't
30
install all
megabyte
the patches
patch.
at once. It downloads one at a time, and then oh gosh.
Another problem with the game, I think, is actually a Uplay problem. Because the same thing happened with Far Cry 3. Remember when we tried to play co-op in Far Cry 3? It took like an hour to get everyone joined up. And I thought maybe that was just the like the game having a bug or something. But Splinter Cell is the exact same. Joel and I tried to join together for a long time.
We couldn't even figure it out.
We couldn't make it work. Like it just didn't work. And so yeah, that was probably my least favorite game of the year, because it wasn't the biggest disappointment because I didn't have monstrously high hopes going into it, but I was expecting that I was really going to like it because it was a Splinter Cell game, and that turned out not to be the case. So that is my least favorite game of the year. Joel has frozen up again. We'll keep moving on without him. In chat, Sabbath Fury says, I got to say, I started my channel because of Jeremiah's Arma 3 and DayZ, as well as Dave's Empire Total War. Thanks, Casual Shenanigans, guys. Thank you. That's very inspiring to hear that someone would have started a channel or something because of something we did. So
Yeah.
thank you for the kind words. And now our last bit. Joel is back. So Joel, before you drop out again, we'll start with you. What is your personal game of the year?
Man, it was kind of a tough one, but I think I'm gonna say Last of Us. It was between Last of Us and GTA 5, and I think Last of Us wins.
Mm-hmm. Dave?
I'm actually not going to say DayZ because it's not finished yet. It is just the alpha. I'd say that the fact that the alpha of a game that came out at the end of the year was like, that was actually in my running for game of the year. That says a lot about the potential it has, but I want to wait until it hits beta at the end of this year, or 2015, to be like, holy crap, this is the best thing ever created. All hail Rocket and the second coming of DayZ. Man, favorite game of the year. It's a really hard one for me. I couldn't decide on one. I thought about Last of Us and BioShock Infinite. I think were my two single player games that were like neck and neck for consideration. I'm okay, and Joel, don't take this the wrong way, but I think I'm actually gonna go with BioShock Infinite just because graphically it was superior. And you already picked it, so
I'm going to go with The Last of Us to be on Joel's side. Here's the thing. I thought BioShock Infinite had the potential to have an awesome story, and it did a good job. And in my opinion, in the third act, it totally fell apart, and they had to, I don't forget what the name of the trope is, but they pretty much had to sit you down and explain what the heck was going on, because there was no way the story was going to naturally tell itself out that it would make sense. Like, it just wasn't. They dug themselves way too... Same thing Battlestar Galactica and Lost ended up doing, where like you just dig yourself in too far and you have to sit down and have the talk, which is basically writers
Battlestar,
going...
I fight you on Battlestar Galactica. I got the ending.
I love Battlestar Galactica. I thought it was pretty good.
I don't remember them ever being a huge explanation.
in the last season,
and at least for me, that I was like,
They started getting a decent amount of explanation. Like, it started taking up more time. It was never as bad as BioShock Infinite or Lost. The last 5 episodes of Lost were nothing.
There was
but
no
the writers
explanation
going,
of Lost.
Please, what are we gonna do? So, but I'm gonna go with The Last of Us, because as a story, something I can really appreciate in a good story is it was simple. It It was a very
That's true. That is true.
You knew exactly what was going on.
That's
and
something I'm going with my film too.
what are you
It's
kidding me? Are you kidding?
I love the ending to Bioshock Infinite. I thought the twists and all were fantastic, but you're right. They did have to sit you down and kind of walk you through
I thought some of the twists were cool. Spoilers for Bioshock Infinite. If you have not played Bioshock Infinite, tune out now.
Don't. Just I would say not, because if you ruin the twist now, you need that payoff, because the storyline is pretty convoluted. You really need the payoff.
All I'm going to say then, when you find out that one person has that connection to another person,
yeah,
I thought that was cool. But how they got there and what they did after that, I did not. I thought it was dumb. So
I can see that.
But The Last of Us, like, man, when it ended, like, there's so much even to talk about with the ending of that game.
Yeah.
Can we do that one? Can we talk about
Last
that one?
of Us?
It's been almost a year. Or it's been like 6 months. Spoilers for The Last of Us. If you've not completed The Last of Us and care about the spoilers,
let's just talk about the themes, because it was
Okay.
a phenomenal game. It was a phenomenal
to me,
game.
the main theme of the game was like, is humanity worth the trouble anymore? Like, these two characters are trying to survive together, and is it even worth it? Or should they just give up?
I just realized a friend of mine, I still let him borrow it. I need to get it back some point, because I really want to play multiplayer again on that game.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, it was so good. Like, as soon as the game was ending, I just knew, like, that was one of the best games I've ever played. You know, the gameplay itself was good. Like, the gameplay wasn't mind-blowing. The art direction was fantastic. The acting was fantastic. The voice, the sound design, all of that was fantastic. The story was fantastic. The gameplay was pretty good, which is enough to get it into my personal game of the year. I would say Bioshock Infinite had better gameplay, but gameplay wasn't, for me, the story in The Last of Us was so good that the gameplay didn't have to be incredible.
I'm actually going to revise what I said a little bit. Like, the artist's work in Last of Us was incredible. Don't get me wrong. Like, visually, the design was so consistent, and the world they created looked awesome.
On the PS3 too.
Yeah, I mean, I spent a bunch of Joel's points on his PS3, like unlocking concept art to go through, because it was so awesome. It just made me sad to see, like, the aliasing and the pop-in and the low-res textures. So I'm like, it already looks so good. Like, I want to see everything.
And guys,
don't worry, there'll be a Last of Us 2.
While we're talking, put your personal game of the year in chat so we can talk about them too.
Joel, a quick aside here. I'm not even kidding you. Someone just posted a comment on that Arma 3 video I posted today going, Rome 2 Total War? Question mark, question mark, question mark, question mark. I'm not even kidding, like 2 minutes ago.
AZN132 says, speaking of The Last of Us, are you going to play the DLC for it coming out around February? Joel, are you going to play the DLC?
Heck yes. Heck yes.
I would say yes, but my PS3 no longer works because I tried to mail it to Chris so he could use it, and the post office destroyed it. So
I think Last of Us had the best multiplayer of 2013.
It was fun. I enjoyed it. We played it together for a little bit. I think DayZ had the best multiplayer of 2013, but The Last of Us was kind of cool modes. I appreciated it. They didn't just try to throw in a deathmatch mode.
I'll say competitive multiplayer.
Oh, competitive multiplayer. Yep. I would say
it worked so well for that game. Really, really well.
Kanan348 says his favorite game of 2013 was Metro Last Light. He says, amazing game. Bioshock has a lot of hype around it, but under all of its art and graphics and good plot, it's a bad shooter. It's not the best shooter. I'll give you that. Like, the shooting mechanics aren't that great, but you do get, like, you get all the special abilities and everything like that. Like, it's fun. Like, Half-Life 2 isn't really an amazing shooter, but all the mechanics together make it a ton of fun. So for me, like, that's good enough. But
what would you call an amazing shooter?
Well, I mean, a competitive first-person shooter, like Battlefield 3, I'd say, is an amazing shooter. Modern Warfare, the first one, is an amazing shooter. Like, the mechanics are just solid. Counter-Strike, amazing shooter.
Except Half-Life has the same mechanics as...
But it's been tuned for Counter-Strike, though. It's much faster and everything. Yeah, those are, like, amazing shooters. But Bioshock is not first and foremost a shooter.
No,
it's a story
Bioshock.
game that has...
Honestly, I hated the shooting in Bioshock Infinite so much.
Yeah, it's not primarily a shooter.
Are you guys gonna play the DLC for it? Because I'm actually halfway through the...
I probably not. I might wait.
Dude, it's really good.
It is
really good.
I'm probably gonna wait until I can get like a season's pass for $5 or something. Like, because I've got so much else to play. I'm not in a big hurry.
The mechanics in it are, gosh, a zillion times better than Infinite. Like, shooting feels like you need to like actually fight to survive. Where the last game is just like you had a zillion bullets, you never needed to use money, you never needed collected money, you don't need to collect crap.
And yet I did.
I know. There was no need for it. There was absolutely no motivation to collect any of that crap. Like, I never upgraded any of my magic abilities in the game because there's just no need to. You just run around and hide behind things and run around, shoot things. I hated the combat in the game.
Ultra Grunt says his favorite game of the year is either Payday 2 or Far Cry 3 Blood Dragon. I still want to get Payday 2.
Blood Dragon's so good.
I'm waiting until it hits the magical $5 mark. And Blood Dragon, I got it with my last AMD card. It gave me that in the bundle. So I haven't played it yet, but I have installed it on Uplay. I'm just kind of gearing myself up to go into Uplay. I don't want to. But yeah.
Black Flag uses Uplay and it makes me sad.
Yeah. But I did get invited into the Steam Steam home streaming beta. I was getting some authentication errors tonight. What on earth are you doing, Dave?
I'm so hungry.
I did get invited into that beta today, so I'm going to hopefully be making a video showing that off soon, because that's a really cool concept. So I don't know if I'll be playing anything in Uplay anytime soon. But yeah, I mean, that was a lot of good games came out this year. I don't know, I feel like it's the same thing every year. But this is a really great year for gaming. My backlog has only gotten worse. It's pretty bad right now. Like,
I sent Dave an article today. It was a really interesting article. We don't have to go all the way into it. Maybe next podcast. But it was talking about prices for games
and how PC gaming is the cheapest way to game, bar none.
No, well, it was actually vice versa. It was actually a huge article opposite of that, because you guys just spend so much, but you don't play almost all of the games. It was really interesting, but it's also like devaluing games now. It was a really interesting article, though.
I spend less than $100 a year on games.
That's true, but do you play all of them?
I'm working on it. I'm working on playing them all right now. Yeah, I mean, I'm doing my best. Like
it's homework or something. It's just wrong.
It is different from like console games. You don't really go out and physically purchase games you probably don't end up playing. But you can still now do the same thing James does, where he has like tons and tons of PSN games and stuff that he's not going to play. You can do the same thing any of them. The thing is, the sales are so cheap that logic goes out the window.
Yep.
But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm working on playing like all the main games I want to play. I'm playing, and then I've got tons and tons of indie games that I just kind of work through when the mood strikes me.
There was a huge poll. I think it was 15,000 people. I think something ridiculous like that. That only 30% of people who buy all these games play them.
That makes sense
on Steam sales.
Well, and even the people who play them, if you look at stats when people do surveys, most people don't finish games.
I know, barely get close.
Which I'm doing. Like I get a game about 2 hours. If I'm not interested 2 hours in, I drop it unless the hype about the game.
There's too many good games to do that to yourself.
Exactly.
To,
to be honest, I'm a pretty busy dude. About to get a little bit less busy, but I'm a pretty busy guy. I've got this channel, which, let's be honest, I'm not really making a living off of at this moment. And then I have a side business, and then I have my day job. And I'm working on turning my side business into my day job. So when I have a couple hours to game, usually I'm gaming with you guys. So it's not very often that I'm like, hey, I'm going to bust this little indie game out. Like if I get into it, I've quit games 10 minutes in before. If I figure out the mechanics just aren't doing it for me. Like it's mostly indie games. Once I figure out like what their angle is, what the deal is with this game, if it's not doing it for me, I'll stop playing it. Just because, like, I got it for a dime or something. I got it in a Humble Bundle that I paid $2 for, along with 6 other games. It's not a big deal if I don't play it. If I get an hour of enjoyment out of that entire bundle, it was worth the money. So, I mean, that's kind of me. I think you guys are pretty much in the same boat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's...
You know what I just thought of? I don't think I ever told Jeremiah about this. Dave, do you remember that game I made, the little RPG game?
Yeah.
I lost it, and James apparently has a copy of it somewhere. I would love to send that out to people and see who can actually beat it, because the difficulty spike in it is just out of this world. Like, it goes from it starts from like level 1 people, and then like the very next area is like level 40 people. So you have to just level up for like an insane amount of hours. It is the most foul, sarcastic written game ever. It's called Tales of the Money Sword.
Money Sword?
Yeah. I made it for James as a present for his birthday, and it's the most foul, sarcastic thing, because we're always just horribly sarcastic to each other. But That would be funny. I'm curious if any would be interested in even.
See if you can get it
trying
on Steam Early Access, which seems to be the dumping ground for garbage. Oh, actually, I want to follow. Can I have one more gaming disappointment this year?
Yeah, hit us.
And this can probably be an entire podcast, but we're just going to spend a couple minutes on it because really we're about hitting the end of our time here. I mean, time is, we can go as long as we want to, but our normal amount of time that we normally are on.
I'm hungry.
One of my biggest disappointments this year was people releasing games that weren't anywhere close to being done. It's getting much, much worse. I think Steam Early Access is making it even worse. There are games like DayZ, which we always knew was going to be an alpha, but there are plenty of games now that barely hit the alpha stage, and then they just crap them out onto Steam. And then you've got major AAA releases. Like most of the major AAA releases this year were broken when they came out. And that used to not be acceptable. Like, it used to be, once you got a game, you wouldn't get patches. If there were patches for the game, you'd have to go search them and find them. Like, find them out and download them off Gamers Hell or somewhere. And you could still play the game without the patch. The patches are mostly balancing and small adjustments and stuff. But the games are so broken these days. And it's the same thing with software. Major software companies are releasing broken software and then just patching it. And that, like, when I'm a working professional, quote unquote, that is not acceptable for me to pay to upgrade the latest version of software and have it work worse than the one I just moved from. Like, I need it to work correctly. Like InDesign, I'm on the Adobe Creative Cloud, for anyone who knows what that is, and I'm using old versions of InDesign and Photoshop because InDesign CC won't, if you load custom fonts into it, it crashes.
Wow.
So if you want to be a designer who uses the Windows standard fonts, you're in luck. If you ever use custom fonts, then you are up a creek. So, but that's all right. So what was broken this year? Battlefield 4 was broken. SimCity was broken. Call of Duty had issues. What other big game releases were there? Everything that was multiplayer had issues. GTA 5, not single player, but multiplayer. I mean, like every major game had huge problems, and it's just ridiculous.
Even Red Orchestra 2 Rising Storm had a great launch for Rising Storm, but that comes after the year before that a really, really rough launch for the base game. Like, they got it really right in the expansion.
Right, Rising Storm, that's really just a polish of Red Orchestra 2 plus extra content. Like,
yeah, it was an expansion pack and like a gigantic patch, basically.
Yeah, and that's just not, which is what Battlefield 2 used to do back in the day. But it's so frustrating.
Oh, disappointments. How did I miss this one?
Okay.
Rome 2.
Wait, I thought you were enjoying Rome 2.
I actually hadn't played it since Joel and I played it in October. I stopped playing it until patches came out. Performance was awful. AI was absolutely horrific. Your units would get stuck everywhere. The combat was terrible. I was getting like 12 frames per second on the campaign map.
Every game in the pipeline right now could be delayed for 1 year, and I would not care.
And you know what the other part of the problem is? As broken as Rome 2 was, their first big chunk of DLC released 2 weeks ago, along with another big patch.
Hey, it sounds like something Battlefield did. Game's broken? Have China Rising. China Rising's broken. Okay.
That's a little different because China Rising was almost done.
It was almost done, but this is about community perception. True,
very true.
And they've been mishandling perception for a while. Perception.
Gosh.
It's nice they said we're going to stop production of all DLC till the game is fixed. It's not good that they're like, oh, but you can have this other stuff also. Like they needed to just like throw the gauntlet down and say, no, the buck stops here. And they're like, well, some people had a few problems. We'll work on it. Like it's gotten to the point now, I don't want to buy any games when they first come out. I feel like it's a waste of money. Most of
I told Dave, I was like, with this new generation of video games, I mean, the costs are just insane. Because, I mean, looking at The Division, the amount of content and the amount of stuff that's in there, that if the game at all resembles that.
The production costs, you mean?
It's their production costs are insane.
They're movies now. I mean, production.
And now, well, here's the thing. Everyone now expects it, that every game has to have full motion capture and dialogue choices and all, multiple endings and crap. It's like, holy crap.
It's the same thing that happened to movies. I'm sorry, you were still making a point. Go ahead.
No, keep it going. Yeah, I think you were going to finish it.
It's the same thing with movies. Movies have gotten bigger explosions, crazier stunts, more insane. Like everything has just gone bigger. But you can go and watch a good movie from 20 years ago, and it's still a good movie. You watch a crazy action movie today, it might be a crazy action movie today, but in 5 years it'll be crappy. And the same thing, crappy movies from great movies 5 years ago are kind of crappy today. If it's a actually good movie, if the gameplay is good, if the story is good, the movie will stay good. Die Hard is a good movie still. Die Hard holds up.
So good.
Die Hard 5 was terrible, and every single stunt is bigger and crazier and everything else, but the movie isn't as good. So games are going bigger, better fidelity, more polygons, better textures, better lighting engines, the fanciest technology, everything, but they aren't, like, the concept isn't even as good as FTL, which runs at 1200 frames per second on my computer, and it looks like it was designed by like 4 people. And that game, the core gameplay is better than probably half the AAA games I played this year. I mean, the concept is better. It is a better thought out game, in my opinion. Again, there's a lot of opinion here, but
oh yeah,
there's too much money being dumped into making games crazy. I mean, look at Call of Duty. That's all you need to see. Every year they're trying to outdo themselves.
Spectacle.
On the biggest spectacle of the year, and people are kind of wise to the fact now. You just can't keep going bigger. You have to go better. And most games aren't. Every year there's a couple surprises that pop out and shock people, and I'm hoping Titanfall will do that this year.
You mean Titanfall, the EA published game coming out
I'm not
on a
buying
set
it.
release schedule?
I will buy it a week after release if it's good. I'm going to give it 1 week and see what everyone says. I really like the idea. I think the idea could be really cool if the game itself
what game?
works.
Sorry.
Titanfall.
Oh yeah. Ooh, I'm excited. for that.
Could be really good. But yeah,
Actually, I wasn't very excited until I saw the recent leaked alpha footage. That actually looked like fun. Like, it reminded me of a kind of Halo style experience.
You guys remember having fun in your multiplayer shooters?
But seriously, it's now spectacle is on this pedestal above fun.
Yeah.
Like fun is hard to hit that target. So if we just cram a whole bunch of effort into spectacle, we'll just get people's attention easier.
I know. Do you remember, like, only maybe 30 minutes ago when someone said, I like BioShock Infinite better because of better graphics?
No, you can appreciate a game like for having awesome graphics.
I'm just kidding.
It was the storyline. The
storyline graphics.
And the tasty graphics.
And for me, art design can make up for a poor story or something. Like, if the art design in something is amazing. Like, Trying to, not that great of a story, but it was so beautiful that I wanted to play it for that. But
dude, I'm playing the game, I think it's called Looper, or crap, I think it's called Looper on
in relation to
Steam.
the movie?
No, on Steam. It's a 2D game.
Okay.
And the graphics are amazing. I believe it's called Looper. It's like a little, like, you're like a little robots, like, looks like you're like a guy on the moon or something like that, but in this secret sci-fi base. It almost reminds me of Limbo. No, it's not
Okay.
that. I'll look it up now. Dang it, it's so good. Like, really, I'm completely immersed into it. I wish I had more time to play it right now.
Yeah, honestly, I'm seeing better ideas coming out of indie studios.
Yep.
I would consider DayZ to qualify as an indie studio. They're getting bigger now. But, I mean, it was definitely an indie game, an indie mod when it came out. And then games
Sorry, it's called The Swapper. The Swapper.
Oh, I've heard of The Swapper. Okay.
Really freaking good.
But you have games like DayZ, FTL, Rust,
Kerbal Space Program,
which I have not played, but I really want to.
Project Zomboid.
Let me see. I'm just going down my list of things I've been playing this past year. I mean, there's a bunch that are just Mount and Blade, all the Mount and Blade games. Tropico, I think, is the best city management game. Chivalry, yeah. Like, just really awesome games that people are coming up with the ideas and then they're making them instead of just throwing money at the wall and trying to see if they can get enough money out of people. I don't know. It's just, I'm disappointed in a lot of things in the gaming industry right now. A lot of things really frustrate me, and I don't know if we'll see, like, I don't know. I don't know if we'll see any big improvements in 2014. Something in me says no, because we're going to see a lot of
Half-Life 3.
We're going to see a lot of games
Fallout
for new
4.
consoles.
I want the Division so bad, man.
I was telling Joel, it's actually my nightmare that at the end of this year, like right around November and December, DayZ hits beta, Fallout 4 comes out, and Half-Life 3 is released. I would die.
Well, no, that's an easy
Yeah.
choice to make. You play Half-Life 3 first because your Lord and Master Gaben is watching you.
He will turn your computer off and be like, only allow you to do that.
I will say, the only thing that will keep me from playing Half-Life 3 the moment it's released is if I have a wedding scheduled on that day.
Will you cry? I'd like to know. Will you cry? Just like a little bit. Single tear even.
I don't know. Honestly, once I get into the swing of it on the day of a wedding, I don't think about anything else. Like my
Same
house,
here.
My house could be burning down, and I'm like, that's great, but I got stuff I got to do right now. So, if I didn't know about it, I'd be fine. If I heard about it, I'd be like, oh, okay. If like,
Oh, okay. So if it comes out and you're working, I'll be sure to text you then.
yeah, be sure to text me. That's the next. It's happening. Save it for that. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
I got it.
All right.
I got it.
Don't use that lightly.
I don't.
But now,
the use of Ron Paul gifts is very, very serious.
now I don't. Do we want to do a predictions podcast in the future where we predict what do we think is going to happen in 2014 for games? Make any predictions about game releases or anything in particular?
It was fun for E3 to predict stuff.
All right. Do you want to do that now or wait until a future podcast so you have more time to collect your thoughts?
I want dinner, so
Okay,
no.
cool.
Dave, you can head out, and me and Jeremiah will
No.
wrap
Next
it
week.
up.
Next week. We'll do it next
Did you
week.
just ask for some alone time, Joel?
Next week
Some
we will.
broadcast.
We'll plan on doing predictions for 2014, even though it'll be almost February at that point.
Yep.
But
Is my camera falling? My camera's falling.
to any of you who have posted, there have been a couple of comments we've gotten tonight of people who would like to play stuff with us. The reason we don't play with you guys more is not because we don't want to. It's because, honestly, we kind of suck at setting stuff like that up. We have really enjoyed when we have played with people in the past. We're working on an idea for DayZ. Honestly, our idea was pretty solid until they changed the spawn locations of everything. And then it was like, oh, well, that's not that great of an idea anymore. So as soon
It's
as we
actually
get that
also
nailed down,
really hard to schedule this size, even just our group of people to all meet up at the same time.
because
Like
we're
even
all
just playing DayZ.
working professionals, like we are not. None of us are guys who just come home from work and are like, "All right, I want to chill this evening." Like that. None of us are like that. So it's kind of hard to do. But we are working on
Totally
something.
not.
And then we're working on getting better at Twitch streaming too. So at least you guys can come hang out with us like in stream and stuff. But there needs to be a really solid multiplayer game that comes out and works correctly. Important asterisk. And then it's easier for people to hop in and out. Like I've been thinking about getting back into Counter-Strike Go, and like if that happens, I'll be sure to post servers and stuff so people can hop in. Quick drop in, drop out games with DayZ.
Dude,
It's hard.
let me know. I'll play that with you.
Okay. And Arma.
Honestly, I wish it was cheaper, but I kind of really want to play Payday 2.
I do too.
I don't know.
I really want
Sometimes
to play it.
I miss just jumping into a game quickly and playing, and then
Hey.
I go, oh yeah, let me just get on my console and I'll play Halo. And I
As
can
a
do that
reminder,
quick,
guys,
but-
you all have insurgency keys.
Which did just
and-
hit beta. I've played Insurgency with you.
No, you haven't. I played it for an hour by myself. No one else ever played with me. You guys all have
Oh,
keys.
I played it for an hour by myself then. Maybe you weren't
Yeah.
on that night. I have a bunch of footage I just threw away of Insurgency.
Skinner Barkley was saying that it is much improved, and I was impressed with even just my first hour last year. So Joel, you've got a key for it. It's like Counter-Strike, but with aiming down sights and like kind of the armor level of damage. It's a lot of fun.
Man, I'm getting sick of aiming down sights. Honestly,
Really?
I am actually. I am. Like I don't know. Like I miss like the really good fast like shooter games. And
Well, then
always
Counter-Strike
looking down
is
the
waiting
sight.
for you. I'll go ahead and
I guess I
reinstall-
like moving quick while I'm still shooting instead of you're always moving slow when you aim down the sights.
That
I
makes
don't know.
sense.
I miss this. Like
I don't know.
Halo has a really good mix of that.
For me, it's a huge disconnect when there's no aiming down sights. It just feels weird to me.
I remember when I used to play
Says Dave who hides
James
in
Bond
bushes in
games on the
DayZ for
GameCube.
forever.
I used to play James Bond games in the GameCube, and those are like my first shooters. And they
Yeah.
were one-stick shooters. So when I first got a Medal of Honor game, I was
Yeah.
like, what's this dual-stick craziness? This
Oh,
is
yeah.
How am I supposed to play this? Do they know this is a
Dude,
terrible layout?
Goldeneye, man. Goldeneye.
Yeah, single stick. Single stick.
Yeah, I remember the day I found out that you could use the little C buttons, the yellow buttons, to strafe. I didn't know about that. So it'd always just be going forward, you turn left, then you go this way. I was like, strafing?
But then you play the PC, you're like, it all just works.
Dude, the first time I played Half-Life 1, I was just like, oh my gosh, the load came down.
You mean Gaben?
My bad.
All right, guys, we're going to wrap this thing up. Does anyone have anything else they want to throw in there before we let Dave go and get some food?
Can I say our end tagline, please?
All right.
When you're done.
Oh, okay. Oh, you want to do the tagline?
I do. I want to do the tagline.
Arpad,
I
to
will
answer your
glare at
question.
you.
I'd like to. Have fun doing some Far Cry 3 multiplayer meetups if it wasn't for Uplay. If you can come up with some way that Uplay isn't going to totally screw us out of the first hour of playtime, I'm in because I enjoyed it. But okay, Kanan348 says I'm 3 minutes into Joel's game and I can say only from the dialogues this is the best RPG ever. But all right, guys, you can follow
Don't think
us
any less of me because
on
of
Twitter
it.
at Casual Shenanigans, at Germ Gaming, at Evil Viking on YouTube. You know us on YouTube, Casual Shenanigans Gaming. Well, it's on both of our channels. And I'm Germ Gaming. Then we have Evil Viking 13. If you want to be a part of the podcast, write into casualshenanigans@gmail.com. I'm Germ Gaming. I will see you next week.
Stay casual.
Okay, I'm alright with that. That's. See you guys.
See ya.